Hey guys, we're back. So what we are going to do, we are going to attempt, as I say attempt, to make a bloom in this small crystallized edge mold from pouring your heart out. I love these molds. I have already mixed up 3 ounces of Let's Resin, regular resin, and part A, part B. It's a 1-to-1 ratio. And it's just the regular. And I've mixed up 3 ounces. I did put it in the debubbler for about 8 minutes. I've been stirring it a little bit, so I've introduced a couple little micro bubbles down in there. It is 34.6 degrees, so it's time to decant. So what I'm going to do is I am going to get 15 grams of resin for my white. 15 grams is plenty. I'll have some left over. And I'm only going to use 1 drop of my homemade white pigment paste. And we will see if it will work. There we go. 15 gram. Turn this off. Set that to the side. Okay. And then what I'm going to do is, this is my white pigment paste that I made. These are my colors that I'm going to be using, my alcohol inks. And I'm just going to pour this in here. I probably didn't need this much, but this mold can hold it. It will still be plenty of room. There's a piece of glitter. I don't know how that got in there. Plenty of room to put a backing on it if I want. Get all of this resin out of here. I mixed this resin for 3 minutes before I put it in the debubbler. And then I just let it sit for a few minutes until it reached at least 33 degrees. I like to do this between 33 and 36. So 34.6 I think is what we had. That is plenty to be able to do a bloom. You do want your resin to thicken up a little bit so that your white doesn't all sink to the bottom. It does need to be thick to float. Now, I'm not the greatest at piping, but I'm even going to attempt that. Usually I like to just put a paper towel around the cup, pour it, and I have less blobbing that way. But we will see. Let me get a silicone brush here. And let's see if we can get, I don't know what in the world, how all this got in there. Get that glitter out. Maybe something was on my cup and I didn't realize it. I just keep them stacked up over in a corner. It's just a bunch of glitter is what it is. And maybe it was in the mold and I just didn't see it. Maybe, I think it was in the cup though, because I seen that little green piece floating in my cup when I mixed it up after I got it out of the debubbler. But I couldn't get it until I put it in the mold and dumped it out. There's a few more pieces in there. I probably won't be able, there's that green piece. Probably won't be able to get all of those out. Just get out what I can. That looks like a little stick. Okay, good enough. Clean this off. That's why you always have a few pieces of paper towel laying around. I've also got baby wipes over here, which work great. Use them for everything. Alright. See if there's any bubbles in there. I see a few. Around the bottom of this edge of this mold, bubbles like to hang on. I guess because it's Such a small little area in there. I just want to pull all of these bubbles to the center. Just trying to get out what I can. Well, there's quite a few. I'm going to, usually this resin, once it warms up a little bit, it pops the bubbles on its own. Where's my torch? Don't go too far to the edge because you do not want to burn this lovely mold. Okay. See, there's still some in there. Maybe once I drop some alcohol inks, it will pop them too. The alcohol and the ink. I'm trying to pull those to the center where I can get them popped. A few bubbles I don't mind. I mean, they're just little bubbles. Not many. Torch this again. Okay. Good enough. Now, let's drop some inks. Give that a minute. Okay. I have these DecorRom Alcohol inks. This is lemon. These spread really well. I have quite a few different brands of alcohol ink. Have I even opened this one? I don't think so. Alright, this little, that one's a dark one. Okay, here we go. These have little like thumbtack pins down in them. They come with the colors when you buy them, and they are awesome to open. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Lemon is so, it kind of dissipates. And then the colors I got, I have a lavender. And these will pull to the center. Oops. He's wanting to spit. Okay, and then I have turquoise. I'm just going to do the turquoise. Yeah, he's going to spit too. That's the worst part about this. These alcohol inks, they do spit, but they spread very well. They are bright and vibrant. And we will just let that be doing its thing, because it will move for a little while. And let's try out our paste. Get it to come down to the end here. You can see it coming out. Okay. I just want one drop of this paste that I made. And I'm going to clean that off. Get us a stick here. We want this to look like skim milk. So let's see how our paste is going to do. Okay, it's mixing up really well. This is getting warm. I gotta stick with some color on it so you can see once I get this mixed up. What I mean is skim milk. You do not want to make it too heavy. See how you can see through that? I mean, I do not have that very heavy at all. And like I said, I'm going to try to pipe. My colors have stopped moving. So let's just pour this in here. I probably could have made this a little bit heavier, but I want it to be wispy and light. So we'll see. But yeah, I think I definitely could have used just a little more white. I think it'll still make a pretty bloom. Okay. Get that on there. Clean the stick off, because, you know, love to reuse those after they've had resin on them. I'm not going to swirl my color or anything. And like I said, I'm not very good at piping, but you can't get better if you don't keep practicing, right? This white's a little too transparent. Okay, there's some bubbles in there. Get them out. Okay, now I'm going to cut off there maybe. Might be too big, but live and learn. Okay. Now, let's see here. I think that's good. And I'm just going to do a spiral. I'm barely pressing on this bag. I want it to be even all the way around. I think my line's a little thin. I could have done it thicker, I think. Okay, I'm going to squeeze this down and probably go back over that. This is what causes blobbing, is when you do this and then you make it too heavy. I gotta concentrate. Never thought you'd hear me shut up, did you? And around the outside. Now, it's one little area right there. But it just does not seem to. Now, you see I dropped. Okay, I'm going to set that to the side, because I am done with that. I'm going to get my silicone stick here, and I'm going to try to straighten those out just a bit, because that's the areas that's going to blob. I don't remember where that little drop went, but anyways, okay, let's draw our pattern. And I'm just going across the top of the resin. I'm not going very deep. Okay. See how these little middle ones do? That's where I usually end up with my blobbing, where I pull this in. Okay, and then I'm going to pull these out, and hopefully it will prevent that blobbing on those center petals like it usually does. And because this is so light, I can see it already blooming. I'm not going to take the heat gun and go around like I usually do to help it. I'm just going to leave it as it is. I'm going to do a little swirl in the center. And that's it. That's all I'm doing. And then we will come back, and I'm not going to put a back coat on this. We will just unmold it and see how our paste did. Alright, see you guys in a little. Hey guys, this has cured enough to where it's touch dry, but it's still really soft and you can't get it out of the mold yet. since it looks so pretty on the back side, I thought I would do a backing. You see this pinky purple? I don't want to do black. Black would make it look really pretty, but when you use black on top of that pink or purple, a lot of times it goes muddy. It turns it this really ugly brown looking color, and I don't want to risk it. So anytime I use pink or purple, I do not back with black. So I have mixed up 2 ounces of the epoxy resin, Let's Resin, 1:1, just the regular. It's not the fast cure or anything. And I thought I would do this dark purple. It's called Shimmer Violet by Pearl X Jacquard as a backing. So I haven't used this before, so I'm not quite sure. I think it's going to be really dark, which is, I want it dark because I want my petals to show, and they show better on a dark background. Oh, that is pretty. Didn't take much either. So I'm going to mix this up really well. I did mix my resin already for 2.5 minutes, and I was like, well, I have to put color in it, so I might as well just finish mixing it when I put in the color. You have to really mix mica powders very well because they want to clump. And if you miss any pieces, you'll see them in your piece. Some micas mix better than others, as we all know. Some mix really well, and some, doesn't matter what you do, they don't want to mix. Look how pretty that is. Isn't that such a pretty color? I think that'll make a great background color for this. And it's got just enough shimmer. So I'm just going to pour this on here. I didn't put this in the debubbler or anything. Because mica powder, a lot of times when you use it, it pops the bubbles as you're mixing it. And you don't really have to worry about bubbles, or you don't see them. Don't want to overfill your mold. But I knew this one would hold 2 more ounces. It had quite a bit of space left. I'm just going to push it to the edges because this is such a lovely mold. And it's still got a little room. It's not like overflowing or anything. I think this is going to turn out really pretty when we demold this. Now when you do make your paste, because we are using the paste that we made, the white paste, you can make it as dark or as heavier as light as you want it. Mine's a little on the lighter side, so you could have used more. Okay. I think I've got all of that out of there. Don't want it dripping on me. Okay. I'm just going to wipe this stick off. And I see quite a few bubbles. So I'm going to get my torch. Just this little tiny one, and torch the back of that. Just some little tiny bubbles. Now, mica powder. When mica powder cures, it pulls into the center with the resin, just like your bloom does. And you can see this going to the center. And usually, a lot of times, a little bit of that backing will still look like this when it completely cures, when you use mica powder. And that's completely normal for micas. And sometimes it will just smooth completely out. So, anyways, that's our backing, and we will come back once this completely cures, demold it, and see how our white pigment paste did, and if our bloom turned out. See you guys tomorrow. Alright guys, it's the next day. I let this cure overnight. It's completely cured. I'm a little nervous to mold it because it looked so pretty. I hope it did turn out pretty. We used our homemade white pigment paste in this. And you can see it's still set up through the night. It's not hard. And it didn't separate, which is awesome. Okay. Let's see what this looks like. A little nervous. Okay, here we go. Oh, it did very well. Yeah, I knew I needed a little more white paste in my resin when I mixed it up, but that's really pretty. It's very light, wispy. That ring light drives me crazy. Alright guys, we'll see you for the next video.